Hi everyone, and welcome to Truth Over News. So much has been said and written about the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid that it's become difficult to understand what's really going on. The corporate media and Democrats keep harping on about Trump having stolen secret documents. Trump supporters keep reciting executive privilege and that Trump declassified everything. Both sets of arguments are beside the point. It is largely irrelevant whether the documents were classified or declassified. The grand jury subpoena that sought documents from Trump did not mention the actual status of the documents being sought. What it said was that Trump had to turn over documents that are labeled classified. All the talk about classification and records and privilege is essentially a decoy as far as the Biden regime is concerned, and a distraction as far as Trump supporters are concerned. While blaming Trump for stealing classified documents is a very useful media narrative for the Biden regime, the real goal appears to have been to lay a perjury and obstruction trap. The trap had nothing to do with the actual status of any documents, and at least one Trump lawyer appears to have walked right into the trap. Last week, Trump celebrated a rare legal victory when a federal judge agreed to appoint a special master to look through all the documents and other items which the FBI took from Trump during its August 8th raid at Mar-a-Lago. The Department of Justice is threatening to appeal that ruling, although they have little grounds for doing so, not least because the appeals court has a very limited mandate to overrule the district court judge even if they were inclined to do so. But it was the DOJ's threat letter to the judge that revealed the real game that is being played. And that game has nothing to do with all the screaming headlines in the corporate media that are being fueled by an out-of-control DOJ leak machine. In truth, the DOJ doesn't care about so-called nuclear secrets, unsafe basements, the National Archives, or even supposedly top-secret documents. No, that's just a ruse, something to keep the outraged media busy. What the DOJ is really after is entrapment, specifically to entrap Trump in a perjury and obstruction trap, and they may already have achieved what they set out to do. How do we know this? Keen observers noticed the DOJ's true intention in how their grand jury subpoena of Trump was worded, but things became even more clear last week when the DOJ petitioned federal judge Eileen Cannon, an immigrant from Colombia who is currently being chastised by the media and the Biden regime. Cannon is the judge who approved the appointment of a special master to look at all the documents and other items seized from Trump. In and of itself, that is a totally normal and rational thing to do. The exact same thing was done when Trump's then personal lawyer Michael Cohen was raided, and also later when Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani was also raided. All that a special master does is to look at what was taken and advise the judge on what was legally taken according to the warrant and what should be returned to the target of the raid. In other words, what can the FBI use and what can it not use? Some might ask, why can't the FBI or DOJ separate the documents themselves? Which is exactly the argument that's now being put forward by the DOJ. The answer is that they can, but in this case the judge, rightly, doesn't trust them. It's not just about the long-standing history of FBI and DOJ malfeasance with respect to Trump and Trump associates, although it is that too. It is also the fact that the DOJ has already admitted that the separation process has been messed up in this very case right now. Specifically, the DOJ team that was supposed to separate documents inadvertently, or at least supposedly inadvertently, gave the investigation team privileged documents which they were never supposed to get or see. Additionally, we know from what the DOJ has already acknowledged that many other things were seized which should not have been seized, as they have absolutely nothing to do with the grand jury subpoena. These items include medical records, tax records, magazine covers, memorabilia, clothing, gifts, attorney-client privilege materials, as well as executive privilege materials. Judge Cannon rightly found that the DOJ's filter process was lacking. That fact in itself calls for the appointment of a special master. Quite frankly, it really isn't a big deal at all. It's not as if the special master can invalidate the search warrant. In turn, only invalidation of the search warrant can truly turn the clock back, because it would mean that everything that was seized would need to be returned and could not be used by the DOJ or FBI in any criminal case. But the process to quash the search warrant hasn't even started yet, and it is unknown whether Trump's lawyers will start it at all. For now, they're focused on the special master issue. Again, having a special master isn't a big deal in the bigger scheme of things. A fact that the DOJ, despite their threat to appeal the appointment of a special master, has now indirectly admitted, while also at the same time showing their cards. In a nutshell, the DOJ now says that they don't really care that much whether a special master looks at 11,000 seized documents and items from Mar-a-Lago. What they don't want the special master to see are documents that are labeled classified, of which there are only about 100 or less than 1% of what was taken from Trump. Additionally, the DOJ wants to be able to continue their criminal investigation into Trump based on those 100 documents which are allegedly labeled classified. This is absurd. Any DOJ carve-out as to what the special master can and cannot see is ridiculous on its face. Precisely because it is not the DOJ, but the special master who is supposed to be the person who sorts through the documents and determines what the government can and cannot use. But let us leave that aside for a moment. The DOJ's demand for a carve-out pertaining only to those 100 documents allegedly labeled classified tells us much more. First, it tells us that the DOJ does not want an outside, independent party to look at these documents. Second, and perhaps more importantly, the fact that the DOJ is far more concerned with documents labeled classified as opposed to the actual status of those documents, or as opposed to so-called presidential records or whatever else they seized from Trump, tells us that what the DOJ is really pursuing here is perjury and obstruction.